It's Friday night, and I, for one, am looking forward to a little chat with Ivan Jennings at Ivan Jennings on Twitter about the Reds. And of course, it's breaking. Well, I don't know if it's breaking news, but the Mo Salah contract craziness we've seen on Twitter all day. Fabrizio Romano is after tweeting something there about an hour ago as well. I don't know how good he is, but his actual agents tweeting stuff like 7 laughing emojis is a bit childish. I don't know what, because Klopp. I don't know whether you've seen the Klopp interview today. The presser for the Brighton game. He was asked about any more movement on the Mo Salah. We're all interested in it. Let's be honest. We're even interested in hopefully Klopp gets a bloody extension. Never mind Salah, but Klopp more or less said, "Well, no, nothing new to say." And I think the fact that Fabrizio Romano's basically, I'll read out what he says, but he's basically saying that it's stalled. Now he maybe has an inside track. I don't know, but he's basically saying. Exclusive, Salah and his agent have no intention to accept current contract bid from Liverpool. Talks have broken down since December. As things stand, Mo's priority is to stay, which we'd all love, but not at the current conditions. Let's see. It's into Liverpool's court basically next. Obviously, I'd say, listen, it's always the Benjamin Franklin's, Ivan, but... I'd say it's more dirty stuff from his agent. These agents can get, once these agents and the people around you get involved, it mightn't necessarily be Salah himself or his wife or his kid, his family, or even his brother or his dad or stuff like that. But when agents get involved, it can get messy.
What worries me is, like, if you're working for a professional agency, right, you do not tweet, when you see something on the television.
It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Real unprofessional, wasn't it?
Totally unprofessional. And that, I don't know if that worries me or if it makes me kind of laugh at it or what, but like it's kind of like Pogba's brother did it before and somebody else, like it's playing it out in the media, which isn't how Liverpool do it. You know what I mean? Like Klopp has answered the question, asked it honestly and answered it honestly. Whether that's an honest answer or not, I don't know, but he's given the right answer, the right kind of answer that a manager should be given in a press conference. But then within minutes, your man to put up the smiling emojis. Like, what kind of a fucking idiot is he?
7 smiling emojis. What is it, 700 grand a week? I mean, what? Look, agents have destroyed players. We know through history and ever since the Bosman, really, I suppose, in the 90s, when the Bosman ruling came in, it changed player power. Players had the power. Up to then, it was really the clubs, wasn't it, that had the power. I'm not saying agents, they're all bad. It just muddies the water, I think. The likes of your man, Riola, I mean, some of the bleeding money he's on.
Oh, totally.
I mean, he's richer than some of the players. It's just ridiculous.
But I kind of go back to something we were talking about there a while ago, right? Like let's say it ends up that he goes, right? So Liverpool won't let it go. If I don't think if it's resolved by the summer,
you won't let it go into it last year.
You won't let it go into last year. I can't see that happening, right?
No.
So
because he could go on a free. He could go on a free the following summer.
So in a way, the club kind of have a bit of control there. And then I look at it and we talked about this before. PSG have thrown money at this again and they failed.
Yeah.
So where does he go? Where do you go? There is nowhere.
Where do you go? Masala. Remember that song? But
it just isn't another club to go to.
Well, I mean, Madrid you'd say I actually think PSG would probably be one of the few clubs that he could go to because
they could only afford him. But like, what kind of certainty are they going to give him? Like, the Premiership is the best league to try and win, and we're going to be in a battle now with City for the next couple of years. Certainly for the duration of Salah's contract, I would say.
Klopp's contract anyway, 2 years.
And then the Champions League, we're going to be there or thereabouts. PSG will qualify for the Champions League, but after that, their whole outlook is built on sand for me. I can't just like Ronaldo could be there next year as well.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Yeah, I know. See, the thing about it is, I mean, did you watch the game the other night? It was a great game.
Incredible.
But they fell apart.
It fell apart. I was watching with the young lad, and I backed Madrid to win. I backed Benzema to score. I actually backed Cruz to get an assist, and he was taken off. But I said, I guarantee you Madrid are going to win this game because
I'd Madrid to win. I'd Madrid to win the game.
They have the history in these tournaments, and special things happen in the Burnabout, special things happen in the new camp, special things happen at Old Trafford, special things happen in Anfield. Special things don't happen in Paris. That's just it. And I just can't, like, as soon as they come up against one of the big boys that have a bit of history, a bit of class, they're going to fail.
Yeah,
they're going to fail.
Yeah. Now, look, it was great to see. I don't like either club. I put a tweet out saying I hope both lose. But you know what I mean? You're saying that. I hope both teams fucking lose because I don't like Madrid, obviously. And
I'd like to get them. I'd like to get them.
I think they look good. Now, they were handed. The first goal was the goalkeeper's mistake, and then it just opens it up for you. You know that way.
I think
back to the Mo Salah. Back to the Mo Salah thing. I mean, I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful he'll sign the contract. I really am. But with his agent fiddling around like that, there's obviously other stuff going on in the background. That's the thing that has.
I just think it's immature.
Worried, you know?
I just think like if this was a normal business deal, it'd play out and we wouldn't hear about it in the media, like in social media. I mean, and he'll be sold or he'll sign, and that's what should happen. I'm convinced he's going to sign, but all this stuff in social media isn't doing anybody any favors. You know, either the club or Salah. It just does not look good. And like it's the kind of thing that if your man has any other players, it's the kind of thing where clubs will go, I'm not dealing with him anymore.
Well, Salah's his big player. I mean, I didn't know who the hell he was up until. I mean, if he obviously has a few players, but I'd say Salah's is number one. You know.
Yeah. But it's like your man, as you said, Raiola. Clubs are just going, I don't care who you have. I'm not dealing with you anymore. Ferguson wouldn't deal with him.
Yeah,
you know what
horrible to deal with. Horrible to deal with. It's all about them. It's not even about the player. It's about them. The entourage. But that's what Mbappe brings. And that's why I always said the likes of Liverpool looking for an Mbappe. So it's not even the player you're getting. It's his entourage you're getting. You know what I mean? And all the baggage basically you're getting with these type world stars. Even Erling Haaland has a baggage as well. You know, that's why Liverpool, I'm convinced, go out, get players. You know, the likes of Salah, who, you know, when we got him, he was a good player, but he wasn't what he is now. I mean, Mane, similar. You know, and we turned them, even Luisdiaz, we turned them into superstars. Yeah. But they've already got the non-superstar baggage with them because they're evolving with Liverpool. You know what I mean?
It's a type of player. It's and you said there's so many other things that go into it outside the family life, and you said the age. It's not like who wants, like, I don't think you get away with that kind of shit in the States. You know what I mean? So the owners are probably going, you know, this is a professional sport. There's a way you deal with people. There's a way you deal with contract negotiations, and we're not playing 20 million just to do business with somebody. Do you know what I mean? Or an additional 20 million just to do business with somebody because we want a player. So good luck.
20-30% or whatever, and then you probably get a percentage of the wages and everything. Ridiculous things. You know,
like Haaland is a good example where Raiola wants money. The dad wants money, and then you've got the release. Like the actual transfer fee is only 68 million, but the package to sign him, like the signing fee is 100 million.
Double it,
and then the salary, whatever. You know, it's madness.
Yeah, 500,000 plus 600 a week, grand a week. The Mighty Reds television. Dan is in the hell. How are you, Dan? He says hello, guys. I think Salah's gone. To be honest.
Nah.
Well, I hope not. It is dragging on. To be fair, it is dragging on, and it's dragging on. I think. Sillily, to be fair, if Salah really wanted to sign, surely he would have signed by now. That's another argument you could say. You know, why hasn't he signed? You know, Gary Richards, I think the deal is done, says Gary.
Yeah, I think, like you saw him. Did you see the interview after the game during the week where Salah came out and spoke? He's got a big cheesy grin on his face, right? We've just gone into the Champions League. We lost the game. He's hit the post twice. He looks so confident and happy and at one with himself. You know, if this was somebody who was really kind of worried, like he's somebody who's genuinely come out and said, I want to stay here for the rest of my career, and if he thought that was at risk or it wasn't going to happen, like if it was me and I had this life-changing event about to happen that I wasn't happy with, I probably wouldn't even be coming out speaking to the media because I'd be so pissed off. Do you know what I mean?
Plus, another thing, and I know a lot, we talked about this even in January when we signed Diaz, because there was a lot of chat around Liverpool, missed opportunities in the last two windows before January, saying, you know, Salah's probably looking at it. Players are getting older here. Where is, you know, look at City. I mean, they're just getting better every season. How are we going to keep up with them? How are we going to be in Europe if we don't add? We've added Luisdiaz then. I'm sure he was happy with that. I'm sure he is. But I mean, look at the position we're in now. I was talking to Garrett Roberts the other day about it from the Anfield Wrap. So Liverpool, in with a chance, still have a chance in the league. League Cup in the back pocket, quarterfinals of the Champions League, and quarterfinals of the FA Cup.
Oh, listen.
So for Salah, there's no excuses to say we're not fighting on all fronts, because we actually are. If we weren't doing so well, I think I'd even be more worried.
I'll tell like he has no
what I mean?
reason. He has no reason to want to leave. Like we're right up there. We're right up there, and I think with the players coming through, the signing of Diaz, as you said, who's just come in and been absolutely top drawer.
Unbelievable.
Like I think we were talking about the last show after the Carabao Cup. Like when you put Diaz on that team, it's frightening. Do you know what I mean? It's so strong. And I think even with the age thing, like look at Benzema during the week.
36.
Like he was unplayable.
36.
He was unplayable. And he he's not even somebody that you'd ever consider to be in the same kind of shape as Salah or Ronaldo or anybody like that.
You know what? He's one of those players, and I think he's one of the top goal scorers for Madrid of all time. But he goes into the shadows or something. You never really hear him being mentioned like in, say, the top 10. It's always Lewandowski. It's always
won
Salah,
the World Cup. You know,
you never hear him mentioned. I mean, he's good at hiding, isn't he? But I mean,
quality player.
He is quality.
And in fairness, if you think about it, he's outlasted how many players in Madrid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ronaldo's, all the Galacticos that have come and gone.
Gareth Bale, whether he was any good there anyway, but you know.
He's still there. Well, that's a good point actually, Dave. Bale's stats while he's there, he's better stats than any of them in terms of medals and goals.
I think he likes playing golf.
He likes that.
You know what I mean?
He likes a game of golf, all right.
Yeah, I think he's more interested in the golf, and he's hoping someone can bail him out this summer. Eamon Kelly, Salah holding out for a better contract. If he helps us win more trophies this season, it will be decided at the end of the season, he thinks. Yeah, well, I'm hoping it's decided this summer. As Ivan says, you don't want to go into the last year in the contract. I mean, Mane and Bobby have contracts to sort out too. We're all looking at Klopp. The way Klopp's been talking this week, I have a feeling he probably will go in 2024. It's very rare for him to change his mind. Now, it could happen. We're all hoping it happens. It's probably if Salah signs in the summer, Klopp does a little extension as well. You never know.
Yeah,
like a double whammy, you know.
I was talking to somebody this afternoon, actually, who's a United fan, and we're having a very open conversation. And he was
talk to United fans.
I do. He was in total praise of Klopp, and he said the same thing I was saying. Where could Klopp takes the break, right? Say he takes a year off. Where is he going to go?
I think the international team is the only thing. I don't think it'd be a club side, Ivan. I think it's the international side.
But we were saying this before, like that your man has only just come into that job, Nagelsmann. Like he's got 4 or 5 years, 6 years, whatever, a World Cup and a European Championship to deal with. Klopp won't be going in there, I don't think, you know.
Well, I don't know. He might add another 2 years. He might look at it and say, right, we've Diaz there. We signed 1 or 2 class players. Salah signs an extension and say, listen, I think this team have another league or Champions League in them. I think I'll hang around for another year or 2. You know, even a year extension. You know, I'm going to bring it out to 2025.
We were talking about it last week. Like when you're signing the likes of Diaz or when you're trying to re-sign Salah, who the manager is going to be is a part of the conversation, right? Definitely. You know.
Well, I'm sure Salah will mention to Klopp saying, well, listen, I have a year left in my contract. I want another 2 or 3. You're going in 2. You know, are you really going in 2? Or is there any way we can twist your arm? And Klopp could say, well, you never know. If he goes, I'm definitely going in 2. Well, then that's different, isn't it? You know what I mean? But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But listen, all we can do is hope. I still think Salah will sign. Mane and Bobby are different stories. That's another podcast, I think. But definitely Salah will sign. I'm just hoping Klopp does something as well, because it will be a sad day when he leaves Liverpool. That is for sure. Okay, we'll move on to a big game tomorrow at 12:30, a lunchtime kickoff. You know, we don't usually like lunchtime kickoffs at the Amex Stadium. It is Brighton Hove Albion against Liverpool. I'm hoping that Liverpool could brighten up my weekend with 3 points in the bag. They're going through a little bit of a bad spell. I think they've lost the last 4, Brighton.
I was looking at the results today, and it's not just 1-0. They've been hammered. I don't think they've won since the 8th of February or something like that. And they've been well beaten by Burnley, United, a couple of others. And they were doing so well at the start of the season. I think, and your man was getting, Graham Potter was getting great praise about what he's done there. he was being talked about for the United job, and
everybody was thinking he was a wizard, Potter. He was a wizard, wasn't he?
But he's fallen. They've fallen badly now, you know. I don't know if it's a kind of smaller squad, if they kind of peaked a little bit before Christmas.
A few key injuries,
as well, yeah. But what I am worried about is they battered us at Anfield. They absolutely battered.
They went off the bleeding boil since that game. I think everybody raises their game against Liverpool, and then all of a sudden, you know, what happened? That wasn't the team. Like even the likes of West Ham when they beat us that day, and Leicester City. I wouldn't say West Ham have fallen off a cliff, but Leicester sort of fell off a cliff for a while, didn't they?
Big time.
So, like, you know what I mean?
They had Maddison and Vardy out. I think West Ham did fall. Well, I wouldn't say they fell off a cliff, but they definitely had a bit of a dip, right?
Exactly.
Leicester just dropped. They dropped right then. In fairness, they seem to have turned it around a little bit. But yeah, like it has banana skin written all over it, right?
It does, yeah, absolutely.
But you still think we'll go off, and what I like about them is they play football, so they'd probably come out.
That suits
so we should be able to draw them out.
Suits us, yeah.
So we'll see.
Did you hear today another rumor going around about Van Dijk, Konate, and Thiago with COVID? Did you hear that? That was all over because Klopp mentioned something in the press conference, but I didn't hear him mention the word bleeding COVID. I think that's just a rumor going around. I mean, if you're missing those three, we would have been. Keats in the background, he's coming in from the green room. There's no champagne.
Definitely no champagne.
There he is.
The champagne is gone, baby.
Definitely no champagne. Glass of red wine, but it's definitely no champagne.
Absolutely. How are you? All good?
I'm all right. How are you?
We're good. We started about 15 minutes ago. We were just chatting about the Mo Salah contract situation. There was a lot of stuff on Twitter today about Abbas, his agent, putting up bleeding, laughing, smiley emojis. I don't know whether you've seen it or not because Klopp was talking about it. Klopp was talking about it today. You know, what do you think? What's your thoughts on the current chat about Salah's contract?
Listen, it's always hard to know what's going on behind the scenes, but reading between the lines, if you can read between the lines, it looks like there's a contract there on the table. And I think Klopp's kind of saying, listen, we've kind of gone as far as we're going to go. That's what it feels like to me, and that's on the table. And it's probably short, is how I'm reading it. It's short in terms of his agent's expectations of what they're pushing towards. So, and now this is as far as the club's going to go, and
take it or leave it.
Yeah, you know, it feels a little bit like that, you know, and like I suppose we have to kind of start looking at like how much is not enough and how much is too much, and you know,
yeah.
I
know you can't have sentiment in it, and he is our best player, has been for the past 2 years, and he's been unbelievable. But you have to look at the bigger picture, and I think Liverpool is a business, as we know, and they're a well-run business, one of the best well-run football teams in the world, to be fair. I mean, just look at Chelsea. So, I mean, like, you know what I mean?
And I actually think it's more. I think it's more than just the actual, you know, the pounds, shillings, and pence on the table. I think what it does as well.
Everything comes into it. Everything.
No, I you know what? I think when you start looking at how you can square off that amount of money with the new stadium, like I think it's almost what it does to the rest of the group if he starts going from wherever he is up to 450, 500, and then everybody else starts knocking on the door, and their agents doing their job as they probably, you know, they're paid to do, knocking the door looking for 4.5. You know, or 500,000 a week, because you know what, we're just as important to this club as Mo Salah is. So like it's like, you know, at some point in time, if you don't start drawing a line under this, you're Barcelona or you're Real Madrid, or you know, like the money, like the money can stop, the money can run out. Like I'm kind of going, listen, like how much is too much? Like if we're offering him 350 grand a week, or 400 grand a week, you know, and he won't sign, you know, like on that amount of money, like the extra 50, 100 grand a week, like what fucking difference does it make to you, lad? You know, it makes, it's immaterial.
I think it's status. I think it's status, you know, and
I think that's easy to throw that out there, that it's fucking status. You know, like if somebody else wants to take him on as a 31-year-old and give him $500,000 a week, right? Well, then, you know,
PSG.
But like, I actually don't want their club to be giving someone 31 years of age $500,000 a week playing out their contract. Like,
it does set a precedent. It does set a precedent, because you go forward then the likes of Diaz becomes, which we think he will, even Jota, you know, you Van Dijk there, Fabinho, a lot of very important, Alisson, the goalkeeper, very important players.
I think that's all fine, right? So I'd pay him, right? I'd give him the 500, right? Because he's proven.
I don't think it is 500. I think it's closer to 4 hours what he wants.
Whatever it is, right? And if Mane came knocking on the door, I'd say, if he was looking for the money, say, yeah, Mane, you've done really, really well, right? So here you can have 250. And if you're still here in 2 years and you score 25 goals in both seasons, we'll have a chat.
Performance-based is what you're talking about.
Totally. So, and that's what it is, right? So I think
the performance-based is absolutely fine. I have no issue with that. You know, but like if you're talking about a baseline salary, walking in day one, having done sweet fuck all, and getting $500,000 a week, no.
I think he's earned. I think he's earned it, right? And like we're talking about the best player in the world, and just even think of the uproar. What does it say? I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to think about it. Fuck's sake! Like,
look at the uproar already on Twitter, and we're fucking fighting on all fronts for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and like this is like, in fairness, the three of us are considered fans. We're not jumping up and down about things. We talked about the journey that we're on and how positive it's been. This is a watershed moment for me with Salah, and I think he is in that top tier of players. Yeah. And I don't think there's any other player in the club who can come in and have the same argument. So I would just give it to him. And the next time we've got the best player in the world who comes in, we look at it again. But we don't have the second best player in the world or the third best player in the world queuing up behind him, you know. So I would pay him. Yeah. I give it to him.
But we're also not backed by an oil nation, you know. So. True.
Oh, like the sums have to add up.
Sums have to add up.
They absolutely have to. And whether does Nike have some input to it, or they've got some business deal, or there's some level of sponsorship, or whatever the fuck that is, I don't care. Like I don't.
They've obviously offered them. I think it's closer. I think it's between 350 and 4, right? Let's say 380 a week. And is that fucking idiot of an agent, Rami Abbas, is getting probably, I don't know, 50 grand a week out of it. He's another idiot. But. Yeah. So, you wouldn't know who's in his ear, his brothers, or, everyone just be in your ear when there's big money involved like that. It's not just Salah. You turn your head, that type of way.
But I think, I don't know about him. Like, I sense that he's quite smart. And I think he's great with the chance. I think he's really intelligent. And I don't think he's the kind of person who has somebody in his ear kind of going, go for another 50, or you can get more at Madrid. But I don't think he's that kind of person. And I think that's why he's come out to say that he wants to stay. And he just wants to.
It depends when you start looking at then your legacy when you walk away from it. Like he gets that done, and he gets statues. Like he goes somewhere else now with this now, and he makes his extra 50 or 60 grand, 70 grand, or whatever else it is a week, and that's probably what we're looking at. Maybe another 60, 70 grand a week, But he's just another number. He's just another player. Each other player's been washed through. He's got greatness. He's got greatness stamped all over him with us. Now, listen, the club shouldn't be using that either. As a kind of a stick. Or as a kind of a something to wave in front of him. But like, if that's all it is, if it's the sake of a fucking 50 or 60 or 70 grand or something a week, and the club have said, listen, that's our wage structure, you'd be the highest paid player at the club, without a shadow of a doubt, but we can't go to that level. We simply just can't go for that level, and like he's not going to go further. He's not going. His career isn't going to elevate wherever else he goes. To be honest with you, he is at where he's going to be, right? And he has a chance. He has a chance of greatness. So now we're guessing. We're absolutely guessing here, right? But like his agent isn't helping, coming out with fucking a line of fucking smiley faces after Klopp's press conference. Right?
Fucking agent.
Fucking gobshite.
But as Mitchell Balton says, absolutely no other option other than to give him what he wants. It's like getting a prime Ronaldo or Messi. Leave. I'd never forgive them if they cashed in. I don't even think he would be able to cash in with a year left anyway. He'd probably only get 50 or 60 million. You're not really cashing in.
I think your point, the statue, like we at Liverpool as a club have so many examples over the last couple of years of players looking at the greener pastures. Wijnaldum, Coutinho, Torres, Suarez. I know Suarez has done okay, but
Suarez did okay. Alonso did okay.
Yeah,
they did okay, and Sterling arguably has done okay since he left, and that is that group. Otherwise, there's nobody else really who's left and gone on to greatness, to be honest with you. And like realistically, when you look at it in terms of if you look at the transfers this summer, Mbappe to Real Madrid, Haaland looks like he's going to Barcelona. probably Harry Kane, because there's no way we're going to transfer
City.
Like, where else does he go to give him that amount of money?
Well, the only thing you would say is possibly PSG, because if they sell Mbappe, they're going to need a replacement.
But Mbappe goes on a free, like, you know. Well, they'll need somebody.
Yeah, but they need a replacement.
Well,
That's
like
what I'm saying.
What I'm saying to you is,
PSG, you know,
like like PSG, right? Yes, they've got all the money, but in terms of a global standing, in terms of support,
they're only a new club.
They're going to nothing. They're going to nothing.
They've no legacy. They're the fucking
no legacy
money
whatsoever, and zero chance of getting past, you know, the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and that's where you're at. You know,
it's I mean, that Keith, we were talking about the game the other night. I mean, that was just, I don't know whether you've seen it, but I mean, PSG cruising at 2-0 on aggregate to lose fucking 3-2. You know what I mean?
And they just capitulated over 20 minutes. And then even when they went down by that goal, they had literally nothing. There was nothing in there. Nobody took the bull by the horns. It was just like, get the ball to Mbappe. Try and get the ball to Mbappe. Try and get the. That's all. That was their plan B. That was their plan B. They did nothing else other than just try and get the ball to Mbappe.
No, in fairness, he was incrable.
He was. And he could have carried that side on his own. Some
player. I think the goal he scored where he did the little dummy on the keeper was
disallowed. It was just off, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was just off.
Listen, I don't want Salah to go. I think he's, you know, he has found his place, his groove with us. You know, when you look at where he'd been beforehand, the place he'd gone, and, you know, like he landed with us. He found his groove, and with his effort and with the club's effort, you know, he's established himself as probably the best player in the world at the moment. So, I just like to see it done, to be honest with you. But I
think the three of us want them to sign, to be fair.
Yeah,
three of us want them to sign. There's no doubt about it.
But you can't hold the club to ransom, you know, to a value that we don't see it. You know, like, you just can't do that, to be honest with you.
Like, and put 7 laughing emojis up to Klopp's chat today. That's a bit silly. But and everybody's attacking your man now, the agent. I even put a thing on to call him a joker. But just before we move on to the quick chat about the Brighton game tomorrow, what's the thoughts on the Roman Abramovich sanctions at Chelsea?
I think it's crazy. Well, I just think it's like, if you step back from football for a second, right? There's other things going on in the world, right? In Palestine, in Saudi Arabia, in China, in America, right? And all of a sudden, South America, all of a sudden now Russia and the Ukraine is getting focused, right? If the same rules were applied unilaterally, it would be just Abramovich getting the fucking...
Newcastle, for starts, I would be looked at.
City,
even City
PSG,
be looked at.
Yeah.
PSG.
So,
I'm sure there's other teams there.
Totally. Your man Moshiri coming into Everton. Like,
Everton.
They're everywhere. And I don't mean they in a racist way, but questionable funding of clubs is pervasive in football. That's a fact.
Yeah. No, look, it's been going on for years. It was all about the money. That's all it was all about. The money they pumped in has just been unbelievable. And everybody turns a blind eye. Keith, what's your thoughts on it?
I think the difference from a global perception is like whatever you do in your own backyard is kind of like it's brushed over. So what the Saudis do in their own backyards, what Qataris do in their own backyard, you know, with influx of migrants and slave labor and all that kind of stuff, it's almost like fine. I think when somebody steps outside of that, you know, and then starts to invade into a different country, if the right, you know, things have been triggered, well, then you see that. Like there hasn't been any kind of a widespread kind of a military reaction to Russia, right? And you're not seeing that. What you're seeing is everything is economical, and like the Russian economy is probably the same size as Italy's. It's not a massive economy.
It is the same size as Italy's.
Yeah, it's not a massive economy. It's not a massive.
I couldn't believe that. I found that out the other day. Same size as Italy's.
Same size as Italy's, right? So you can't fight them militarily, because if you back them into a corner like a rabid dog, they start pressing fucking buttons, right? And then start launching, right? You can't fucking do that, right? But what you can do is you can squeeze the fuck out of them, right, economically. And that's what's happening now on a global scale. And it's fucking death by 1,000 paper cuts from my perspective.
It takes time to set in, though. It takes time.
Listen, and to be honest with you, and that it doesn't help Ukraine, by the way. Like that tactic doesn't
No,
help
because
Ukraine
they want
win-
something
win it.
immediate. They want something tomorrow,
Yeah.
today, not
Yeah.
fucking in summertime.
So what the global economy, what the global world wants now is a revolution from inside of Russia to oust him. That's what they're looking to do. By applying a much pressure, so we don't have to go in there with military force. We don't have to do anything. We just basically squeeze that right, make it such an environment
I think it's the likely scenario. Yeah, I think that's the likely. It'll be a Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi type thing where it gets done from within. The Russian people don't want this. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
No. I mean, well, you could say
and to be honest with you,
North Korea didn't happen either.
There's going to be collateral damage. There's going to be collateral damage, right? And obviously, the first collateral damage you're going to see now is what happens to Chelsea Football Club, because there's no way in hell he's coming back in there now as a sugar daddy.
He's gone,
and he's going to have to sell that club, and he's looking for $3 billion, and there's no one paying him fucking $3 billion because they're going to go, listen, it's going to be worth $1 billion another month, a month and a half. So there's going to be people hanging around there until it falls to a value that somebody is happy enough to pay for it. And
but
then
I also
think
it's strange though, like whilst he's friends with Putin, what does that make him guilty of? Like, do you know what I mean? I'm really
there's a deeper thing.
It's how he
got the money.
Became wealthy. It's how he got the money in the first place.
He got the money in a dodgy way.
But then hold on a second. So we've had to wait for Russia to invade Ukraine to bubble that up.
No, that's a different fucking.
That's a different fucking story. Yeah, absolutely.
Like they reckon Putin is probably the most richest man in the world, right? Because he's basically highlighted these companies that are completely undervalued, put his cronies in there, giving them nominal share values, right, in these companies. These companies have then rocketed through the roof, right? Everybody else has been ousted and his boys are in there. But as part and parcel of that, they've had other contracts probably sitting in somewhere in Russia whereby he's got 50% of these organizations. And that's the oligarch method. That's the oligarch, that's what has happened. And then what they've continuously done is literally wash their money around the world, right? And the easiest place for them to wash their money is in London. Is in London. That's the easiest place for them to wash their money. So what they do is they go off to these shelf companies in the British Virgin Islands, right, or the Cayman Islands.
Keith, you know
over there, shelf company.
He knows too much about this.
The fucking Russians are gonna turn the podcast off.
Yeah. They then register that company with companies out in the UK.
I'm getting worried.
I don't care. I'm through fucking 75 VPNs here. They'll never fucking catch me, the prick. and then they buy. You know what I mean? So, Vladimir, if you're watching,
he's a big fan. He's a big fan of the show. He's a big fan of the show. But look. That's another. I think if you do a whole podcast on talking about oligarchs and bleeding money in football, and we will probably end up doing it because I think it's going to explode.
No, I'm done now.
I think all eyes are going to go on Newcastle next. Yeah, brighten up my podcast, will you? So tomorrow, 12:30, we'll try go for a lineup. It might be hard to try pick a lineup for tomorrow, but Keith, they beat us at Anfield when we went through that horrible 6-game losses. I know that was a bit. We hadn't got a full team and stuff like that. They've drawn with us at Anfield 2-2 when we were 2-0 up and could have won the game, to be fair. But as I said to Ivan earlier, they've gone on a bit of a dip. They've lost the last 4. I think we put a decent team out tomorrow. We beat them. Keith?
On paper, yeah. They've conceded 9, scored 1 the last 4, something like that. They're going for 5 in a row defeats in the Premier League. All points towards a very handy win for us. However, it's a 12:30 kickoff in Brighton. Yeah. No matter what way you fucking look at it, right? And like,
just win.
Yeah, like I think we have to go strong. I know we've got Arsenal midweek away, but I think we have to go strong. I don't know what
we have to go strong.
Yeah, depending on what reports you read at the moment in terms of who's fit, not fit, COVID, non-COVID, it's difficult. It's probably one of the most difficult teams to call, I would say. I think definitely up front, it's Diaz, Mane through the middle, and Salah on the right-hand side is what I would go for.
Yeah. The midfield is the team for me. What do you do in midfield?
If I could, I would, and if they were all fit, I'd go Thiago, Fabinho, and Henderson tomorrow and get it done. I think Wednesday looks after itself, to be honest with you, in terms of an away fixture. Right?
But the Wednesday means fuck all if you don't get the result tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Exactly.
I'd go similar. You'd have to go strong at the back. Obviously, Matip congratulations to Matip getting Premier League Player of the Month for February as well. I mean, that was.
And then it's just what's the story with Konate and Van Dijk? I think Konate is COVID. Does that look?
Well, that's
like
what
COVID?
we heard, but I don't know. I mean,
he wasn't in the match day squad today, and he wasn't. He's sick, and there was a player with COVID.
Yeah.
So
maybe Konate, but Klopp never mentioned anybody. He said we're all fit and raring to go today. I heard him say that twice.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's just mind games. But Ivan, I'd go strong. I mean, it's your next game's your most important game. You have to win tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd agree with the front and back there. The question is the middle. Like we were poor in the middle until they came on during the week. I think Curtis was okay. He has little moments, do you know what I mean? But the strongest midfield by far is having Fabinho and Henderson in there. Do you know what I mean? Thiago as well on the left has been great. So I think we go strong and we deal with Arsenal when Arsenal pop up. You know, we have to. Who are City got this again?
And then we've got an FA Cup match where we can shuffle stuff around, haven't we?
Yeah,
we've got Sunday week is Forest away.
Forest, Forest, Oh, he'll definitely mix it up for that, for sure.
Yeah, just take it, lads. You beat Forest now. Forest won't be an easy game. We're in the fucking semis. You know what I mean?
No, and I don't think you do take it lightly, to be honest with you. But I think you can maybe mix and match a little bit with a really strong bench, you know, and then if you need to bring somebody on, you bring somebody on. But I was saying we've got a block now of early Saturday, Wednesday evening match. You know, have a look at the squad and let's just try and put out the best we can to get through. To be honest with you, I'd almost not. We're not going to bid. We can take a little bit of a flyer, right? A little bit of a risk on a couple of individuals in the FA Cup, right? We can do that. We absolutely. It's a what is it? A 6 o'clock kickoff, isn't it?
It's 6 on a Sunday,
Yeah. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff. I think we can kind of do that. I think we should really be nailing down. Listen to me. If we get through tomorrow, right, and we're 3 points behind them, and we put in a really good performance, and we get a couple of goals up, right, and we're maybe 3 or 4. Let's just say we're 3 or 4 up, goal difference, and they're going to Crystal Palace on a fucking Monday night. That's what we should be looking at, right? And let's see what happens. We have to win tomorrow. We absolutely have to win tomorrow and apply pressure. Right?
Do you know what's a weird stat as well? The last 3 games, we've only scored 1 goal. Right?
Yeah, I know,
We've had a 0-0 against Chelsea, of course, 1 in penalties after extra time. We beat West Ham, people would say probably a little luckily, 1-0 Mane goal. And then we got beaten by Inter Milan 1-0. We've actually only scored 1 goal. We've only let in 1 in 3, I suppose, as well. But, you know, that's why I think Diaz starts.
We created chances. We could have scored 4 against
chances,
Inter. You know, we nearly blew West Ham away at the start of that game, and then it kind of settled. So, you know, what they say, you have to be in the position to score. If you don't score, you don't score.
Listen, we could have scored 4 during the week. We could have scored 4 during the week.
As Keith always points out, XG or whatever, you know, so...
Yeah. Listen, I don't think we have any problem in terms of creating chances. A cool head. I have got question marks over it. I suppose, you know, I'll probably get shot down for this now, but I've got question marks in terms of our composure and the clinical nature of our finishing in front of goals. I think up until that point, we're absolutely fine, to be honest with you. Like Mo hit the post twice. He should have buried one of them, to be honest. Like one of them shouldn't hit the post. Shouldn't hit the post.
Definitely.
You know, Diaz couldn't get the ball out of his feet, so maybe delayed a little bit, but that should be buried.
Should have been buried.
You know, 2 of the set pieces should have been fucking buried. Listen,
Matip hit the bar. I know it was back behind them, but as you say, Keith, that way, if you're going to lose a game, probably that's the game you lose. Out of the 3,
you know what?
That's the game you lose.
Exactly what Klopp said, Dave. Exactly what he said. You know, if you could pick a game to lose, that's the ideal one. And you can see, I'm not happy.
My only concern at the business end of this, right? And it's not even just a concern for me, by the way. I've got the same concern for Chelsea. I've got the same concern for Chelsea, and I've got the same concern for Man City at the business end of the Champions League. When you look at Madrid the other night, clinical. You look at fucking Bayern Munich, fucking clinical, bang, right? So I do think you need.
We can get that though, Keith. We can get that. That can come back. You know what I mean?
No, listen, I'm not saying it's not going to come back, by the way. I'm just saying it's not fucking there at the moment. That's all I'm saying, Jason. You know,
I think in the Champions League, Keith, though, what we're great at is having to get a result. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
More
It's
over under
hard
pressure.
way to win a game of football. If you get 1 out of your 7 and you don't concede, you've won a game of football. No problem with that whatsoever. But like, if we were to get Real Madrid in the next round, looking at what they did down both wings, I would be concerned for us that in a shootout we would need to be quite clinical. Not saying we wouldn't get past them, by the way, but they could probably score 2, and we'd need to score 3 or 4 to get through that tie. Is all I'm saying to you, and that means you're not going to get 15 chances to score 3. You're going to get 8, 7 chances to score 2 or 3. You need to be a lot more clinical. We need to be a lot more clinical. Jota hasn't scored in 6 games. Now I know he's a streaky striker, but he hasn't scored in 6 games. Right? That's the way you look at it, right? Salah could have had 3 the other night. He hasn't. Could have had a couple in the cup final, didn't. Couldn't, you know what I mean? So, like, you know, he had a really good chance against West Ham in the first 5 minutes, 1-on-1, doesn't convert it, right? These are adding up from my perspective. These are adding up, and these are leaning towards me saying we need to just start getting a bit more clinical in front of goal, you know, and our conversion ratio needs to be higher than it is now at the moment. In the cup competitions, right? I think we could probably get away with it in the league, but we won't get away with it at City. We're not going to have an awful lot of chance at City. We're going to need to be clinical at City, no matter what way you look at it. It's these big games. It's City away. It's the Champions League quarter-final, semi-final matches.
Every game's big, Keith. Even Brighton tomorrow's big. If you lose a draw, that's the fucking.
Listen, we could fucking dominate the football, to be honest with you, right? And we could have 15 chances on goal and score 2, and they go 1, we win 2-1. That could happen. And every other league game, Arsenal will give us chances just the way they play football, right? And we could want the right end of a 2-1, you know, or a 3-1. But when you get down to the business end of the big competitions, your XG needs to be a lot better, right? It needs to be, we got 4, we put 2 away, right? What?
He loves that XG, doesn't he? He loves it.
I'm just saying that to me, that's the only thing to keep me awake at night is good chance, fucking goal, right? Really good chance.
No, you're right. You're dead right.
No, you're
that's
absolutely
it.
right.
And that's it. Otherwise, listen, I think we're phenomenal.
So tomorrow, I'm going to go for, as you're saying, scoring goals is a problem. I take 1-0 all day long. Of course, we'd all take 1-0. But I think we'll score 2. So I'm going to go 2-0 to Liverpool tomorrow. And once we win, no injuries, big game against Arsenal Wednesday. That's what it's all about. What score? Any scorelines you don't care once we win?
I think it might be 3. I'm going for, I think Mo's due a goal. I think he's long overdue a goal. I think he'll get one. I think Diaz will get a goal tomorrow. I think that just feels like he's going to get a goal tomorrow. And I think we might get a goal from a set piece as well. So I'm going to go for 3-0.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that. Ivan?
I think 3-1. I think we might concede. Salah's definitely due a goal for sure. I was hoping Diaz would have started last week because I was tipping him to score. Love to see him get another one.
Tomorrow. I think he starts tomorrow, and if he starts, I think he scores.
Yeah, hope
you know.
Score. And I think we might concede, but again, as you said, I take a 1-0 all day.
Absolutely. Right, guys. Just before we go, us 3 will be at it. The Anfield Wrap are coming to Ireland, the north and south, on the 24th, 25th in the north, and 26th in Dublin, 27th in Cork. It should be great crack. I think there's still a few tickets left on Eventbrite, so get your tickets quick. And you can meet us 3 legends there as well. Have a beer, have a chat. It should be good. Talk soon. Stay safe. Tomorrow, Liverpool to beat Brighton. Brighten up my weekend. Keith and Ivan and the comments, guys. It's been absolutely brilliant. Stay safe.
Look,
You'll never walk alone, guys. Cheers.